going to get started. We're going to go down the line, have everybody introduce themselves, tell them who you are, which most of them know, but we'll start with you.
My name is Denzel Washington. No, my name is Marvin Delph, and I'm from Conway, Arkansas. Matter of fact, I still live in Conway. And when the Lord comes back, that's where He's coming first.
My name is Ron Brewer, and I'm from originally Fort Smith, but I live up in Fayetteville right now.
Pat Foster, assistant when these guys were here, and I want to say that how sorry I am that Eddie couldn't be here today and be a part of this and really enjoy what these guys have done, and it just hurts. It hurts a lot that he's not here and not doing well at all, and we all need to pray for him.
My name is Jim Counce. I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee. I live in Northwest Arkansas now.
Sidney Moncrief.
All right, guys, so getting into that amazing film, can we just give one more round of applause for that awesome film? That's a great story. Being a former Razorback and kind of seeing the atmosphere and how everything went when you guys were players was really eye-opening, honestly. And so one of the first questions I want to ask you, the quote I heard from Marvin was, "We didn't care who got the credit, we just wanted to win." And I think that's such an important characteristic for a player on the team and a team as a whole. Speaking to your success and that mentality, what do you think separated your team from the other teams in the conference and in the nation at that time? Any of you? Jim.
Well, certainly experience helped quite a bit. We had 4 returning starters, and 5 out of the top 6 players came back in the year we went to the Final Four from the previous year. I've mentioned this before. The greatest challenge that a coach has, I think, is getting the players all on the same page and getting them all to work hard every day. We talked about motivation versus discipline. I love what y'all had to say earlier. But the fact of the matter is, if your best player is team-oriented, then half of that battle is won. If your best player is team-oriented and is your hardest worker, then 95% of the battle is won. And that's where Sidney's greatness really lies, is the fact that it's easy to be the best player on the team and to coast sometimes and allow your talent to just get it done for you. But Sidney was always our hardest worker. He was one of our best players, and so that standard every day in practice was set that I think was the biggest difference maker for us overall. Individual honors meant nothing to these guys, and it's not that they didn't come, because they got plenty of individual honors, but they knew that individual honors would come with team honors, and that's exactly what happened.
Coach, you got anything?
Well, Coach Sutton put in a system. He brought the old Oklahoma State system into Arkansas, and defensively, defense was the most important thing to him, and this team was great defensively, but you have to score too, don't you? And that's where these guys, I think, changed Eddie a little bit. A guy like this right here, who was one of the greatest offensive players that I was ever associated with. That's just Sidney and Marvin certainly in their own right the same way. But we had to, a lot of people have, talk about coaches and their relationships with players and their impact on players and everything. Coaches don't make players. coaches are born and they develop their own games in various ways. Eddie really helped. I'm certainly not minimizing the coaching aspect that he brought to it, but you got to have players, and we had them, and I think that's the overriding issue here.
Well, the bottom line is when we were juniors, we knew we were good. We just didn't know how good we were. And we came back our senior year, which was Sidney's junior year, very competitive, very spirited, knowing that we had to go out there and play, but we weren't worried about what other people thought about us. We knew about what was within our team. But every little thing we did was competitive about it. The coaches put us in the system and allowed us to succeed, and we did. I don't think that when we came up short against Kentucky, it hurt us because we felt as though we should have beat them. If we played them 10 times, we'd beat them 9. It just didn't work out for us that particular evening. But considering all that, these 3 guys, well, our team became very, very tight. We fought together. I mean, I tell the story to this day, you know, I'm in a dark alley, who would I want to have my back? And these guys right here are the people I want to have my back.
No, I do want to say, I think sometimes it is minimized how talented we were, but when you watch footage, it's kind of scary to watch these guys play. It really is. And we really didn't care who got the credit. However, we wanted to get the credit. That's the difference. We wanted to get the credit because we wanted to be the best performer, yet we didn't care who got the credit. It would all wash out, and I think that was a big key to our team.
One of the main themes of the video was the racial atmosphere during that time period, and I really loved just understanding how the success of this team and the integration of the sports team brought a unity in the community. Okay, you guys have all spent. Why did the makeup of that team lend itself to an atmosphere of inclusion and diversity?
So Marvin, you have been out.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna let y'all move forward. Let y'all talk on this.
Go ahead, Jimmy. You're the only white player.
Okay. I was from Memphis, so it wasn't like these are the first black guys I'd ever seen. Honestly, being a white guy, it never occurred to me that there were any issues. You know, I mean, it was insular to us we were looking at it from inside the team, and we really didn't think about it. We lived together, ate together, played together, worked together, did everything together, and we were just happy we were winning. And we did not want to do anything to disturb that. I think the thing that makes that ruins chemistry on teams is when players start elevating themselves above their teammates. Okay, I got to play with Ron Brewer every day, who I thought was the greatest basketball player I had ever seen. Everybody on that team was in awe of Ron Brewer, and I knew when we took the floor against whoever we were going to play, that no matter who they had, we had a player that was better than their best player. And so if you're Ron Brewer, why not think that you're better than everybody else, or allow that to creep in? And here's the thing: Ron never thought nor acted like he was better than any of us, and that example every day is tremendous to team chemistry. And so it would just there just weren't any racial issues on the team, and the idea that something that we were doing was bigger within the whole state wasn't something that really occurred to us. We were just thinking about winning ball games, and when you had that kind of team chemistry, it was it was something that was very special.
If you never say you don't see color, matter of fact, we teach in our workshops, you always see what? Color. However, with our group, since we worked together, we played together, we won, we lost together, we felt very strongly about each other. And that's why these workshops that we do with diversity and inclusion is so important, because they're all about engagement, getting people to interact together. And when you do that consistently enough, then 40 years later, you still have a friend that doesn't look like you. You still have a friend that doesn't look like you. And what we try to emphasize is we want participants to build lifelong relationships with people different than what they are. And we were able to organically do that at Arkansas, and we should never ever underestimate how important that was, because it was just great. I don't think we ever had an incident, except with Marvin, always. Otherwise, we were all good. If I talk about it, I get him talking.
Come on, Doc.
Yeah, I'm gonna get him.
And also, we went to schools. Remember, I went to Hall, integrated. North side
What was north side?
was integrated,
Conway.
but not integrated. No, shit. Integrated.
Diversified.
Diversified. And your school was mostly, they were integrated. So we were accustomed to people different than what we were.
Like to say?
Next question.
There's plenty to pick from, so. Okay, well, what were some examples, let's say around classrooms, on campus, even just at the games, that kind of told you that that you were doing something bigger than just playing basketball and having fun? Especially when Sidney talked about, being in 9th grade and going to the stadium and, not seeing any black faces in the crowds and the disconnect with the African American community to the university. What were some things that you noticed that this was bigger than you?
I want to say this quickly. A lot of people helped us outside the team. I see Hayden McElroy, Tim, Jimmy Hatfield. There were a lot of people like them that gave us, as coaches, the strength and the motivation to do better. We got most of our strength from the players, however, but I think it was, we had a lot of help. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, thank you all very much. I'm still waiting for my $100 magic handshake from you all. I know Ron got one, Marvin got one.
No, Marvin didn't get one.
I never had the old $100 handshake. Yeah, tremendous.
Muskie wants to say something, right?
Him must be.
All right. Never miss an opportunity to get a mic in my hand. But my name's Muskie Harris, and Razorback, class of '73 Orange Bowl team, which now you go by your last year. But what I wanted to let y'all know that the 100 Black Men, which is a national mentoring program that we raise boys into men, and we're going to be recognizing the Moncrief, Delph, and Brewer Award at the Governor's Mansion on May 19th. And what these three men have done has not been done since. And you only have one beginning. They are the foundation, and their legacy should live on. We will be recognizing an outstanding professional, male and female, which has been chosen. Ms. Shayla Copas, National Interior Designer, and Mr. Charles Stewart, one of the first black bankers in the state of Arkansas, are the two recipients for this year. We will be getting more information to y'all. I have another meeting to go to, but I wanted to let y'all know this legacy is going to live on. Thank you.
Thank you, Muskie. We talked last night, right, about how isolation can be a part of being a college student. And as a player, as a student, and I did attend class. No, I said, Ron, I was great at class.
So the better class attender than
Marvin and Ron.
Wait a minute now.
You never had that. Ron was always in class, first person there. Always. Ron was my roommate one year.
Let's have to come get it for 4 Smith.
He was my roommate one year, and I actually had a room by myself. I had a room all to myself. And he was staying off campus with his wife now, and I never saw Ron. When he would come in, it was so funny. He would come in, Ron's so hyped, he would come in, pick up a book, sit down, start reading, he'll open it. About 30 seconds later, he'll close the book up and say, okay, I'm done. Studying about Moses. But the isolation part, it was difficult being in Northwest Arkansas. I came from Little Rock, which was, like I said, it was neighborhoods of African Americans. So you come to Fayetteville, all you see on campus were pretty much people that were white. And you saw, that was a difficult transition for me. But I was so focused on getting my education. I had gone to Hall High School, and then we had great teammates. We had this fellowship and this fraternity that kept us very well grounded. And we felt the coaching staff, they were fair in how they dealt with us. So it was great, but it was difficult, the racial part, especially on campus.
So, I think Marvin deserves this credit that is not often mentioned. I talked about how great high school basketball players in the state of Arkansas, period, and particularly great black high school basketball players did not come to the University of Arkansas. And other than Almer, I can't think of a whole lot of great black high school basketball players. Dexter Reed had just gone from Parkview to Memphis State. So when I visited up here, Marvin visited up here also. And I'm sitting in the stands with the coaches and watching the players play, and I kept seeing this guy, and I said, wow, who's that? He's really good. And it turned out it was Marvin. And at that point in time, I guess we weren't really supposed to be playing with the players on a visit or whatever, officially, but it's okay. But the fact of the matter is that Marvin and I both talked on visit and got to know each other, and we said, you come here, no, I'm not coming here. You come here, no, I'm not coming here. And everything. And then we both, but Marvin was a great high school basketball player. They've been back-to-back state champions at Conway. They played in the biggest basketball game ever in the state of Arkansas against Northside in the spring of 1974 at Barton Coliseum. All Marvin could talk about, when I talked to him on the visits about Ron Brewer, how great Ron Brewer was and how great, and he kept going on, I was thinking, there's nobody that's that good, you know. But at any rate, Marvin coming to the University of Arkansas is what opened the gate. It opened the gate. It opened the gate for Ron to come, it opened the gate for Sidney to come, it opened the gate for so many other great high school basketball players that are African American in the state of Arkansas. And had Marvin not done that, things would have been delayed. I think it would have eventually happened, but things would have been delayed. But I don't know how many schools were recruiting?
Yeah, that's 3.
Only 3?
No,
Well,
I'm just kidding.
No, I mean, Marvin was a legitimate.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he was a legit.
Marvin is an NBA
guy.
player. Marvin is an NBA player.
Absolutely.
There's no way you can watch that footage and not see his greatness. Matter of fact, I can count maybe 10 players in the history of the game at Arkansas that was in this category. It's not many. And a lot of times that's overlooked. But when you start going back and looking at this film, it's like, wow, this guy could just really get it done. And he came to Arkansas first, then Ron, and then I decided to come to university, and it was just a good fit for all of us. It's a great fit.
It was a good fit. I'm gonna tell you a story about these guys now. See, they've been riding me. I'm gonna get on them a little bit. When I came to the University of Arkansas in 1974, Coach Sutton was like, y'all remember that show, Gomer Pyle? You remember Sergeant Carter? That was Coach Sutton. I mean, he was something else. And every day or every week, Sidney would call me, Mark, man, how you like it up there? I said, man, it's tough, Sidney. I said, I ain't lying, boy. I go back to the dorm room and I just be looking up at the ceiling and saying, Lord, why you got me up here? I said, but it's tough. I said, but one thing about it, Sidney, I'm learning basketball. You know, I'm learning things about basketball that I didn't even know that you could learn about basketball, because Coach Sutton was a teacher. You know, he taught you how to go set a screen. He taught you that if your man was, if you were the guy being screened for, he taught you how to use that screen. I was learning stuff about basketball. I was like, wow, my mind was being blown every day by what I was learning out there on the basketball court. So every week he would come. Man, come on, Marvin, man, tell me how you like it. I said, Sidney, man, I think if you come up here, if Boo come up here, I think we can do something special. I said, but I'm gonna tell you, Coach Sutton crazy. That's what I'm telling you. I said, man, he will get in your stuff. I'll never forget that day he told, I was a freshman. And, you know, I was allergic to defense. You know, I used to tell Coach Sutton all the time, I said, look, you didn't bring me up here to play defense. The 3 D's was discipline, dedication, and depth. I took the defense off. But I'll never forget, man, Coach Sutton, he was trying to teach me something about defense. And he just got all frustrated, got mad. He said, Marvin, you can't cover my grandmother and she dead. Boy, I was like, oh, Coach. I said, but I can cover you though. But anyway, we had a lot of fun. Coach Foster, I'll never forget Coach Foster every game. Coach Foster, he come on, D, we got to have 20 out of you tonight. You got to get at least 8, 9 rebounds. We can get 20 points. Hey, we can beat this thing. Don't you think we can beat this thing? I said, Coach Foster, we got it, man. I got it. Don't worry about it. I said, let's make sure we tell Sidney to pass the ball.
Well, he told me, Sidney, we got to get 30 out of you tonight. So I had to shoot the ball. He told me, we got to get 40 out of you, right?
Every time I'm going up for a shot, Sidney hollered at me, D, I'm open. Every time I shoot, I said, so am I. Boy, these guys, man, they was something else. I could have been All-American, man, if these guys would have passed the ball. Anyway, we had a lot of fun, though.
And we still have fun.
Yeah. Now, the thing is, though, you see what happened. See, when you shoot as much as they did, that's why they ball hit. The ball just kept hitting them in the top of the head.
Yeah. Let's have the audience ask us a couple questions before you go back to your question.
Go ahead.
First thing I'll tell you guys is that I would rather ask a question than answer it. But this is a comment for your reaction, which was one of my little tricks when I'm interviewing people. I'm thinking with Ron and Marvin. Now, Sidney was a mid-range shooter, but Ron, and especially Marvin, could shoot from the outside. I'm thinking if you'd had the three-point rule in those days, we win 1 and maybe 2 national championships.
I know they would have been the leading scorers at Arkansas, and no doubt, I can't really think of shooters for the opposing teams that had more range, so we probably would have.
Yeah, you're right. My job was really easy. I mean, I couldn't ask for, as a point guard, to have on 2 sides. On one side, Sidney, on the other side, Marvin. I'm pushing the ball in the middle. Choices I gotta make. I can't go wrong. One, I know he gonna dunk it. He ain't gonna shoot a layup. He gonna put up and shoot a 3. And that's how much confidence he had in his jump shot. And when he decided that he was gonna play with athletes in action, it always comes when we played the Lakers or the Clippers, he'd call and want some tickets. Man, you know, you want to welcome, get some tickets. But he would come to see the people playing his position in the NBA. And I kept saying, I said, Marvin, I told you couldn't play. you could have played easy because he's probably one of the best shooters I've ever seen shoot basketball.
I don't know how many of you remember, but, you know, when we were seniors, Sports Illustrated in their college basketball issue featured Marvin as the best shooter in the United States. They had a 2-page time-lapse photo of Marvin's jump shot. You remember that, Rick? You probably helped. Engineer, of course, yeah. And I still say Marvin's the best long-range shooter I've ever seen, not only from an accuracy standpoint, but Marvin was an incredible jumper. He could elevate so high and he had these long arms. And he delivered the ball from kind of behind his head, but at the point of release, it was perfect. And so you couldn't really challenge the shot. So Marvin not only was a great shooter just from an accuracy standpoint and from a range standpoint, but I thought Marvin could shoot with people on him as well as anybody too. So so yes, had we had a 3-point shot at that time, Marvin would have been a 25-point per game player in my mind.
I'd forgotten about it. Remember us going to, Eddie sent me to New York with you that time for the Sports Illustrated shoot? You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's probably a good reason why I'd forgotten it. I don't know what it is. I think we were with Fly Williams. Ever heard that name? I remember he started cussing that. No, it was Austin Peay. We were coming back from the Sports Illustrated, down the street there where we're standing. We're standing in some nice suite there by Madison Square Garden. But anyway, the traffic got heavy, and Fly got. He said, "Let's go, get out of the cab. We're gonna walk the rest of the way." And the cab driver said something to him. He started cussing the cab driver, and you and I got out. We were in New York. We were a little bit intimidated. Fly wasn't there. But anyway, I'd forgotten all about that deal.
Another question from the audience.
So hey guys, what a thrill to be here today with you guys. And I graduated in '75 from McClellan, and you don't beat our teams all the time, so thank you. But just curious, a couple things. A comment first is that it had such a great time when you put Arkansas basketball on the map. And I'm 18 years old, 19 years old, and we're this guy right here and watching you guys play. It was amazing. So curious question, fun fact. Can you guys remember what you averaged, I guess, when you were seniors and you were junior, including Dr. Counce? And I got to say, what a great combination of 3 fabulous players. And of course, Jimmy Counce and Steve Shaw. What a balance of size and talent and whatever. So, Sidney, can you remember what you averaged that year when they were seniors?
I don't. I played in the NBA 11 years.
Rod? Who's the leading scorer? Does it even matter?
No, I was the lead scorer.
So anyway, that tells you how good.
Now, I just want to say, I wasn't lead scorer my senior year. I was lead scorer my sophomore and junior year. I think Boot was the lead scorer my senior year.
I'll never forget the boot shot. Of course, kind of gives Reed. So, Dr. Counce, what did you average that year? Do you remember?
Well, between all the shots these guys got, I can remember every single shot I took.
That's 6 points and 10 rebounds, right?
I don't think I averaged more than 5 or 6 points.
That's all it took, man. So, and Sidney, real quick, my son wants to know.
Let's go ahead and answer if you want. 77, 78 year when Marvin and Ron were seniors and Sidney was a junior. For the season, Brewer 17.8, Moncrief 17.7, Delph 16.3.
Wow. There you go. Real quick, last question. So my son wants to know. Oh.
What was there? I think they all averaged over 80% from the free throw line that week too.
I got that here.
That was the other thing. They were great free throws.
Yeah, free throw percent for the full season, Brewer 86.5, Delph 84, Moncrief 83.5.
Wow, that's impressive.
So real quick, last question. My son wants to know what it was like to guard Michael Jordan in the NBA.
I don't know. I never guarded him. I could guard him. I tried to. But one thing I played 11 years in the NBA, and when you have to go against these players every day, it kind of raised your game, because you had to play every day. You had to go out there and play at a high level. So when I got to the NBA, no one that I faced intimidated me, including Michael Jordan. But Michael Jordan was a lot better player than yours truly, and he was very difficult to guard. And we relied on the entire team, just like at Arkansas. You couldn't guard Michael Jordan one-on-one. You just had to rely to push them a certain way, and you had a scouting report that someone else would give support in a certain direction, and you hope that he would just pass the basketball. But I was always very physical. I was a physical player on the defensive end. So with Michael, it was just a lot of hitting him and grabbing him and pushing him. I never forget, I played 10 years and retired and came back to play for the Flying Hawks. I'm guarding Michael. Certainly my game was really down here. I wasn't an elite player any longer. But I still guarded the best player, so I'm guarding Michael second half, and I'm just like. And he said, hey, OS man. He said, if you can't guard me without pushing, holding me, and blah, 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 you shouldn't be out on the basketball court. He talked to me. I said, well, one day you're going to be old. Right? But he had a better comment. He said, yeah, but I won't have my ass out here trying to play basketball. That was my exchange for Michael. Fast forward years later, he had his butt out there trying to play basketball. But that was a good Michael Jordan. But I just played him hard. I was telling someone yesterday, I said, I didn't play Michael Jordan any harder than I would play Joe Smith. My level was always right here. And we try to tell young people that when you're performing in any area of your life, your competition is yourself. You want to make sure that you raise your game as high as you can raise it. So Michael was not any big deal to me, even though he scored 50, 40 on me.
I want to make a comment.
Yes.
I was at Hall High School and Sidney was there. And I experienced watching all his wonderful high school games. And I was at the banquet his senior year when he announced, unexpectedly, that Eddie Sutton was our guest, that he was going to the University of Arkansas. And Eddie's face hit the table. And he said, yay.
This Jane Bill Offer, she was you taught, I didn't ever go to class of high school. What did you teach?
I was a business student.
Business student, but you taught typing. Did you teach typing? So Keisha, when you see me pecking on my keyboard, I missed that class.
I want y'all to comment on the night we beat North Carolina in Pablo.
Well, we were not on that team. That was the Michael Jordan team. We had left.
That was
Charles Valentine.
Charles Valentine, US Reed.
It was a wonderful experience.
Yes, we didn't share in that experience. We sure didn't.
And I will add one thing, because I left Jimmy out. I've got some stats here right at the end of the season. They played a couple more games, but Ron had taken 245 shots. Marvin had taken 216. Sidney had taken 191 plus 128 free throws. And Jimmy Counce had taken 47 shots. That's why he can remember all that.
So we see who was passing the ball.
Well, the fact that we overlooked in this basketball, when we lost to Kentucky, one reason we lost, you went out of the game. Because you got hit in the kidney.
That was against Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
That was against Notre Dame.
Well, the reason we won against Notre Dame is because you went out of the game. That's the truth. You learned to spin it after you
How did you guys get the name, the triplet? For those who I never got it.
I was at the, I think where we were playing, it was the NCAA first round, maybe somewhere, but I was standing with Al McGuire and Orville Henry. And now he might have coined that phrase earlier, I don't know, but he was talking about these guys, and how good they were, and so forth and so on, and he said, they remind me of triplets. I never will forget that. Glad you asked that question. Now, like I say, he might have come up with that earlier on, but I don't think so.
oh, they had one thing to that, what the year, what it was, the Pine Bluff game? 84. Before the game was a long story, but I got stuck down on the court right before the game, and McGuire thought I was with the team or something, so he wanted to go through the whole roster, and he started out with Joe Klein, whatever, Alvin Robertson, Joey called Robertson the whole game. But anyway, he got down to Ricky Norton, and I just read in the paper right before that he was the best outside shooter since Marvin Delph. So that's what I said to McGuire. And he looked at me kind of funny, like, what do you do or what? And I said, come on, Coach, Marvin Delph, you named him the triplets. And he said, oh yeah, and he wrote DELF down on his little score. Remember 5 years later.
But at that point, Al McGuire was like the Dick Vitale of the last several years, and what he said really caught on, and that was a good phrase. The Sports Illustrated copy and his coming up with the term the triplets was really, it captured the nation, captured the imagination of the nation, basketball.
Yeah, him saying it on that.
Matter of fact, when I travel now, how many years later? 20 years later, people will come up to me and say, oh, you're Sidney Moncrief, you're part of the triplets. And they would name, they normally get 2 out of 3 correct. They get me and they even get Ron. And occasionally somebody get all 3 triplets. That was so long ago.
You guys, if you want to know the truth, Al McGuire came up with that when we were in Albuquerque after we played UCLA, and then we were getting Fullerton. And those guys were the triplets for 3 games. They played as the triplets for 3 games. Al McGuire used that on the air when we played California Fullerton, and we played that game and 2 more. So they're the triplets forever, but as far as that time, they were the triplets for 3 games.
I think, I don't know whether Al was the first to say it, but imagine imagine the other coaches in the Southwest Conference, okay, that had to play. Because it wasn't one and done then. They had to play against Marvin for 4 years, they had to play against Sidney for 4 years, they had to play against Ron for 3 years, and so they just kept coming back, and we kept beating the butts. And so guys like Shelby Metcalf and Abe Lemons and Gerald Myers and others, they've never been so glad to see guys graduate in their entire life.
Well, that goes along with the fact that television really got going. These guys had a lot to do with it. That team had a lot to do with the March Madness and all the things that came along with about college basketball, and enable coaches to make $3.5 million when Eddie and I were making 100. He's making 100. I was making about 60. Just thought
And Ron was making 50 and Marvin's making 40.
One of the things and Rick remembers this, we were the first at-large team to ever get a bid to the NCAA in the Southwest Conference.
Yeah.
We were afraid, we'd been ranked #1 in the country, we were still ranked in the top 5. When we lost to Houston in the Southwest Conference tournament, we were afraid we weren't going to get a bid to the NCAA. And Texas, who was great that year and had beaten us once, and lost in the finals of Southwest Conference to Houston after they had beaten us, got shut out. They went to the NIT and they won the NIT. Now, the NIT was great because it was only a 32 team NCAA tournament then.
It was 40 that year.
Or 40, okay? So we got in. All our fans thought that we would be playing the first round game in Tulsa. And so we had bought up the Navy Arena over there, but we didn't. We had to go to Eugene. They had a picture. I bet you still got that picture. They had a great picture of these 3 guys out in the forest out there, in Eugene and everything. So we had to go all the way across the country to play. We played, we came back, and then we drove over to watch the first round game in the NCAA tournament at the Media Center in Tulsa. And the 2 teams that we watched play were Notre Dame and Houston. And Houston was really good. They actually beat us twice that year. They beat us once in the regular season, beat us in the conference tournament. Notre Dame beat them like they were dogs. They beat them so bad. And all I was thinking was, man, I'm glad that we didn't have to come over here and play Notre Dame because they would have killed us. They could have beaten the Lakers that night.
But Jim, I'm just glad you're a doctor. I'm not, because I would have never remembered all that. And somebody would be dead on the
I would just say that one of the reasons my memory is clearer about some of these things is I didn't play nearly as many games as y'all. Y'all have other careers in basketball that went far beyond mine, but that was, you know, remember, we literally left Houston thinking we might not get in this.
But Notre Dame had 8 guys that played in the NBA.
They had 8 pros.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim, you had a question?
Well, you go. Well, I was gonna say as a fan, we just wish y'all had 6 or 7 sons.
I have a question. We had obviously a better team than Wake Forest did. We played them over, was that in Norman?
No, we were on.
In Norman, and we lost that game. I know we were there, and we had a lot better team than they did, and what beat us that time? Lack of depth.
Well, first of all, we could have won the national title that year. Did Marquette win?
Yeah.
But I'm gonna make an excuse. It's a basketball excuse. We play on a hardwood court in Fayetteville. Remember the court there was that rough.
Yeah.
And then they had the new basketballs, which everyone had new basketballs, which makes no sense. Why would you play with the new basketball when you're playing a game? So when I got to the NBA, when I was a captain, so I got to pick the balls. I would always pick a used ball in the NBA. But in college, you play with new basketball. Stupid. And then you had the target court. And we missed a lot of passes and slipping and sliding. I got into foul trouble. The officials were horrible. It was just a lot of things that went wrong that game. But that was the year that we were clearly good with that team. I can't say that Notre Dame was good the year we lost in the Final Four. Kentucky was good. And Duke had about 4 players who played in the NBA. But that year was not good.
We had, so Sidney was our best defender, and he got in foul trouble, which he had hardly ever gotten in foul trouble and had to go to the bench. And we were vulnerable to being pressed, and we started turning the ball over press, and I was the one that was turning the ball over. What they were doing was the adult team, they had it scouted pretty well, so the adult team Ron, and when Sidney had gone out, rather than substituting the ball handler, we had substituted him as someone who was not a ball handler at that point in time. And one of the only substitutions I ever disagreed with on Coach Sack, because we had a ball handler that was on the bench that could have come in, that would have helped us. But we turned the ball over, I think I had 5 or 6 turnovers in that ball game.
8.
It was There were crucial times too. There were crucial times, and they beat us. And you talk about feeling like you had left something on the table. We left something on the table. Because what we had that year, we had the same 5 that played the next year, but we had Steve Stroud, who was a center, and he gave us size and strength inside that we didn't have the following year. And we also had Trey, who would, many of y'all know Trey Trumbull. Trey Trumbull was a great basketball player. He ended up transferring to Western Kentucky, and he was all Ohio Valley Conference at Western Kentucky. But we had Trey that year too, and Trey single-handedly beat KU in Allen Fieldhouse. He was great in that game.
We were up 13 points at the half.
We were up on Wake Forest at one time by 18.
Yeah.
And I dislocated my finger that game. Not that it mattered because I wasn't much of a shooter, but I remember trying to catch that hard basketball and it hit this finger was like this right here. So I looked at my finger, it was sideways. The guy came out.
Sidney mentioned officials. Bob Workman of the military and Congress, and Lucy Wilson of the ACA, and they called a lot of that. 45.
You know, the other thing that was, I'm sorry, keep going on that.
Let me say, that's Jim Rascal. Jim, stand up. You can understand. Give Jim a hand. Jim is he wrote the Hall of Fame biography for me. So he's, whoever remember, in the Hall of Fame, NBA Mason Hall of Fame, he wrote
The other problem was I don't think we knew how good we were. In retrospect, looking back, you know, I think that the funny, but no, I mean that year
we did not know.
We didn't know. We had not played anybody on a national scale except for Houston. And Wake Forest, all of a sudden they're ACC champions, and all of a sudden we look up and we're 18 points up on them. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, Coach Sutton, it's a lesson in leadership. Coach Sutton, after that year, he called us in his office. Now, you're seniors, I'm juniors, and you never went to Coach Sutton's office unless you did something wrong. So we're like, I would call him. I had never been there. Marvin was always a good job. And he called us in the office because you were exactly right. He said, Sidney, Ron, I'll tell you something. That's how I said it. He couldn't talk to us just like we were just like, you guys are really good. You're better than anywhere in the country. No one in this country is better than you three guys. And he had that little speech. And I think that kind of pushed us, that little confidence, because he never gave me compliments. He never said you were good. It was always getting better, getting better. I think that pushed us your senior year to do what we did. Because yeah, we are. You know what? We are pretty good. Yeah, we're some of the best players in the country. And then we started to play like it on a consistent basis.
Well, thank y'all so much for your questions. We're going to wrap it up with one final question, and I'm going to challenge y'all to make it super quick. But whether you played or coached, tell the audience what it means to be a Razorback, Razorback pride, what it means to carry that legacy on for the community, for your kids. Explain that for us.
Well, for me, it's a great honor and a great privilege. Those were some of the best days of my life being a student athlete here at the U of A. Coach Sutton used to always challenge us to, to not only represent the university athletic department, but to represent your family, represent your state, and go out and make your mark in the world and do something positive that not only that you can be proud of, but you can do something that your family and other people that you played with will also be proud of. So I've always had that in the back of my mind all these years. Regardless of what endeavor I was involved in, I always wanted to do something that was right and that was going to be a blessing to other folks. So
I'm going to piggyback pretty much what Marvin just said, but that was one of the things I shared with my son about being a Razorback. I know what it meant for me, and everything in my power I was trying to make sure that I could regulate that for him as well about becoming a Razorback. He bought into it. Some of the best 3 years he had at university, as well as 3 years for me as well. He ended up playing the pros, just like I played the pros. But this is family, I say this is family, and I say you guys are family. And that means a whole lot to me because after basketball, that's all you have is family.
Hey, Ron, tell everybody what Ronnie's doing now.
Ronnie's coaching at Fayetteville High School, assistant basketball coach.
My family sent me here, and I went to school here and played here as well as coached here, so it was just part of the family. Yeah.
What an honor and privilege it is. Where can you go where people don't talk bad about athletes anymore? I mean, you listen to radio shows and read the newspaper. Yet in Arkansas, we're still fairly insulated. Everybody talks good about the Razorbacks, and here we are 40-something years later, and people are actually interested in what we might have to say about it. So it was wonderful. My favorite moment in the whole time of being a Razorback is coming back from the Summit Arena when we were juniors. Sidney was a sophomore. Ron was the most valuable player in the Southwest Conference tournament. You had to walk underneath the expressway to go back to the Stover's Hotel where we were staying. Marvin and I were the last guys to leave the locker room, and we had come together. We were 16-0 in the conference. We won the Southwest Conference Championship, and we knew how hard we worked to get to that point. We walked all the way over there, and you had to take up a series of escalators to get to the top of the lobby. And when we got on that last escalator, riding the last escalator, we were still in our warm-ups, the crowd in the lobby, you could not turn around in the lobby. It was so thick with Razorbacks that were so proud. And you know what? There was a real element. They started calling the hogs when we were coming up there. And the element that was so thick there was, we stuck it to the whole state of Texas right here in Houston, Texas. And that was great.
I just think that we live our lives when we're younger, always trying to compete. I'm a competitor. I don't know if you were in Tulsa, Oklahoma at the FCA conference when we were in high school. Yeah. And we had all these other states that were represented and how they looked at you if you were from Arkansas. And we went out on the court and every day we destroyed every state we could think of. So I was always very intrigued by being the underdog, being from Arkansas. And I wanted to bring pride and bring honor to the state through basketball. And we were able to do that. And my best memory being a player was when we would fly into Drake Field, we would land the aircraft, and there were just hordes of people out there, like at midnight. Thousands, hundreds of people.
Yes, right.
I sound like Trump. Millions of people, no. I don't know if it's millions or thousands. There were a lot of people. And we would get off the aircraft, seriously, we would get off the aircraft. You remember how they would call the hogs and cheer? I'm talking midnight, it's cold, and they're so proud to be Razorback fans, and we brought the state honor. And guys, I would say mission was accomplished. I'm just so proud to be a Razorback.
Let's give the panel a hand.